All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checker TV. Time we have the Area 51 Super Speedway Truck Series here tonight at Daytona International Speedway, and it is somehow already its playoff time here tonight. So drivers hopping on track right now to gain their ever important qualifying runs in for tonight's event to get their starting positions. Looks like in the upper 30s for drivers starting in tonight's event. And of course, as always, though, 75 laps is our scheduled race distance. We do have that one fast repair and also those 3 attempts of a green-white checker to finish over here. So it could go 75 and it could go a little bit longer. So drivers are going to have to be accounting for that here tonight as well. I'll say also it's gonna be interesting. It's the build week, so we're gonna see a lot of updated looking Silverados and F-150s and Tundras tonight. So keep an eye out for that this evening as well. But I think the big thing to talk about tonight is going to be the points coming in tonight. Again, everybody resets to 0 in those top 8, and so our championship 8 are going to be Gabe Butler, Maxwell Caldwell, Vicente Guerrero, Eric Laurie, Sebastian Marin, Robert Rock, Todd Siebels, and Dean Wilkinson. Yeah, it's a pretty good combo of TW Motorsports there with Todd Siebels, Dean Wilkinson, Robert Rock, the 3 of them there. And then you look at some of the Dale Cubs / Bootknocker teams there with Gabe Butler, Eric Laurie, Sebastian Marin. I think you could honestly probably throw in Maxwell Caldwell into that mix as well. He's been working with those guys a lot over the season as well. Which unfortunately kind of leaves Vicente Guerrero as the odd man out without really a teammate in the chase. However, looking around in the Discord, looks like he's got some help though. Saying one of the drivers we talk about a lot, BK Anderson, one of those, and then also William McKellar as well. So I'll say it's all not for loss because he does have some help here. So I was saying Vicente definitely one that we'll be watching over the course of this playoff run.
Yeah, it's going to be quite the playoff battle. I'm quite interested to see what these guys can do, and I know last week was a heartbreak for BK, and hopefully he can. I'm really rooting for him this week.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see what some of these guys have in store. As right now, still plenty of drivers making laps, and honestly, it looks like more drivers putting laps down here tonight than maybe we're used to seeing here. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as well. But right now, it looks like we've had about 19 trucks take lap times tonight. Now, actually up to 2021. So I think qualifying actually looking like some of these guys a little bit more inclined to put some qualifying laps in here this evening. So I think that kind of just tells you, I think these guys think in track position, especially at Daytona, Matt, don't have that third lane like we're used to really seeing all the time at Talladega. So I think qualifying towards the front might be a good option for these guys that just try to be up front and not have to stress too much, because we will see a lot of 2x2, I think, tonight. But I think a few of these guys, notably the TW Motorsports boys, I think they have their strategy. They're going to stick with it because it's one of those things, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And they've done a really good job of kind of starting towards the back and just staying out of trouble. And then once it's really time to get after it, that's when they start to show their pace.
Yeah, that's the strategy I tend to take every race here at Super Speedways. Some of these other guys, the aggressive guys like your Sebastian Marins, JD Crow, Gabe Butlers, and your Groover brothers, and they're really aggressive and they love this. Stay up front, qualify up front, push, force it 3 wide. I am not that type of driver. As for me, I try to keep my truck clean. If I want to make it to the end, I'll probably be running in the back, same as those TW boys.
And that's the thing is, I mean, you got those 2 trains of thought, and there's never really one right way. I mean, like I said, there's the option of kind of riding in the back and just kind of being safe and avoiding it. Or there's also the thought process of, hey, I want to be in front of all the action, because if I can stay in that top 2 maybe or so rows, usually those incidents happen a little further back. So if I can be further up, far enough up, I say you might put yourself in a safer spot. So it's really intriguing to see kind of what the strategies are for these drivers. But I believe qualifying just about completed here. So we're about to get this 4-race playoff underway here tonight, Matt.
Yeah, speaking of that, shall we head to the starting grid?
Yeah, let's do it. Saying starting grid for tonight, it's going to be once again Sebastian Marin getting a pole position here tonight. And I'll say all important bonus point as well, going to that number 23. And then you got Gabe Butler next to him there in second. Then JD Crow, Joe Delavecchia there third and fourth. Then you got Brian Wang, Vicente Guerrero, BK Anderson, Seth Gruber, Eric Laurie, and John Ward there are top 10. 11th and 12th, you have Jimmy Reynolds and Robert DuPont. Dropped to 13th is Jim Brooks, Brandon Briggs, Paul Sheldon, William McKellar, Andrew Schroeder, Andy Brigante, Jack Walls, Keith Horner, Michael Spell, Bud Steele, Jason Adams. Maxwell Caldwell actually opting not to qualify tonight in that 24th position. So one of the first of those from in the playoffs doing the same. And you got Kyle Heath, and again, playoff drivers Robert Rock right there in 26th. Then you got Al Cena, Jay Hilliard, Bob Fitzgerald, Chummy Miller, James Hickson, Dave Bingle. And then you got Todd Siebels, Dean Wilkinson, 33rd and 34th. Again, playoff contenders. And then in 35th, our last driver in the grid here tonight, going to be that number 101 of Randy Minor.
Man, it's kind of tough not me being out there for once. But me being out there running with these guys, I really did learn something. Staying in the back, sometimes it bites you. As sometimes it don't, but most of the times I did stay in the back the whole time, and I got lucky a few times. I persevered of a timely caution, and but if I didn't run up front like your Sebastian Barons, JD Crows, and man, it's tough. I mean, I think the key to probably winning this whole playoff thing is staying up front and leading laps.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen time after time, every point's going to matter here tonight. We saw it to just get into the playoffs themselves. So, obviously, the one bonus point right off the bat to Sebastian Marin, that's going to be a big help for him. Of course, the leading a lap, getting another point, leading the most laps would be also a point as well. And then to me, though, I think the all-important one, saying it's obviously the toughest one to do, especially in a super speedway situation, is having an incident-free race, having that 0X next to your name. And so that gives you 5 bonus points. I mean, again, you think about how many positions you can jump. Let's say you finish in, let's say, top 5, top 10. Those bonus points could jump you over a few of those drivers that maybe if they do get involved in an incident here tonight.
Yeah, I did forget about that 5 bonus points. Thank you for mentioning that. But that is a good advantage for staying in the back. That 5 extra bonus points. But if a caution does not come out, it's going to bite you big.
Yeah, and that's the thing we've seen before, Matt, is like every so often there'll be an incident that you think and hope that would be a yellow if you're towards the back, but it winds up staying green, and it splits the field in half, and at that point you're just kind of in recovery mode, and that's honestly where that second pack gets in trouble. They start to get a little too greedy, a little too aggressive, and trains like, okay, I got to close the gap up to that field. I don't want to lose. I don't want to fall multiple seconds back. And you start to push a little too hard, and that's usually where that incident happens. The front group, they're content; they just want to ride. That second pack, trying to gain that front pack, is where things kick off.
You hit the nail right on the head there. I totally agree with you 100%. Like when we got separated once, and we thought it was a caution. A car was spinning right in front of me, and here they go, watching a lead pack just sail off, and nothing we can do.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough situation to be in. So, however, pace car just about to drop off of the racing surface, hand things over to our front row of Sebastian Marin and Gabe Butler. Again, race number 1 of our 4-race playoff, and we are green as Sebastian Marin leads the field here to the flag. So it looks like so far so good up front. You can see the inside line definitely prevails there. Also looks like Sebastian got a jump even on Gabe a little bit there. It's allowed JD Crow to tag right onto the back bumper of that number 23. Saying usually we see that one truck right on the door really of that front row. So that just kind of tells how good of a restart that number 23 got there. And so actually looking at the back here, you can't see anything because you've just got the complete push from that number 5 there of JD Crow. So right now these guys are going after it here as they go into turn number 3.
Yeah, the top lane is not really that coordinated now. We've only got maybe about 6 trucks up there. Everybody's sitting there bottom feeding.
Yeah, and right now, it's starting to pick up a little bit, but Sebastian's going to get that lap number 1 led in that 23, so another bonus point goes to him. So kind of at the moment, based on where they are in track, kind of the equivalent of a 2-point lead, of course, then when more bonus points, and of course the finishing differences between first, second, etc. But obviously jump him up a fair bit more than that. But just on the bonus point side of things, it's kind of a 2-point advantage, if you will, to that number 23 here. As, again, still early in the race, but you know these guys are definitely thinking about every point that they get the opportunity to get here.
I'll check on my TW boys sitting there riding in the back, just cruising.
A little nervous, though, about that riding in the back thing, because they're already 2.5 seconds off that pack in front here. Right now being led by Alcina and Bob Fitzgerald. But yeah, they're 2 seconds, and it's growing pretty significantly this over this past couple hundred feet, if you will, even. Now we've already grown to 3 seconds between the, Alcina here and then Kyle Heath, the last one in that lead pack. So this is the concern I have of starting towards the back. Usually you don't see it break apart this big this early. So we'll see. I mean, I was saying I think we're starting to see the adjustments now. The driver's starting to jump around a little bit, try to get themselves positioned. And I think it's Jay Hilliard going to lead the outside line, trying to get Randy Miner tagged onto him, and then also the 45 of Todd Siebels. So I think they recognize that and they say, hey, we got to react to this because this is too early to fall this far back. So we'll keep an eye on that intervals, but right now it's already grown to 4 seconds between that front pack and that second pack.
And that whole group, I mean, the whole group is in the same chat room together, so they're all in communication.
Yeah, exactly right. So they'll definitely be all in discussion with one another. I say the other thing I say, did you mention with the updates to some of these vehicles? I say something I didn't even think about. I say some of our camera angles probably not spot on here this evening, unfortunately. So there's going to be a few that I'm going to we'll have to kind of adjust over the course of the races here. So I'll get them fixed up for next week, but unfortunately I don't think we'll have the typical roof and the roof cam pointing forward and out the back of these trucks, so we'll get that squared away for next week. What we still do have, though, is a great look out the front of these trucks here. So we'll hop on board right now with that number 5 of JD Crow, as you can see kind of the motion here with the wheel and the pedals there that he's got. Just trying to stay just locked on close enough to Sebastian Marin. As you can see, every little bit, there's just little adjustments throughout the course of these turns, Matt. So it's definitely not something where you just kind of just put the wheel in and hold it steady. I say there's always a lot of adjusting you have to do with these trucks.
Oh yes, so like I said, when you get up close to the car, your steering gets so light with these trucks. But they are a lot of fun, dude. They're more controllable than the Xfinity cars that they run on Sunday here at Air 51. A lot more enjoyable. I love the trucks. I wish they would never go away. It's quite fun.
Yeah, they're definitely a lot of fun to drive. So we're going to look at lap times now, Matt. Say we're early on into this, but again, that split up of the pack, I think that's going to kind of lead us to needing to do so, which right now only on lap number 6. But right now, that lead pack, 47.98 and a 95 for the front two. It's a 48.55 for Jay Hilliard. So again, about a half a second slower that last time around for that second pack. And they've actually switched up from going double file to now single file. But you can see how tightly packed they are between that 59 to 101 and then the 900 of Alcina right behind them. I was saying this is that aggressiveness you're going to need to have here to try to close that margin. So the job here for that 101, though, is to just try to push as much as you can. Don't overheat the truck, though, and then try to be able to close that gap. So say with them assembled like they are, we'll once again try to keep an eye on lap times. But right now, really, it's that inside line here up front, though, it's really been controlling the pace of this race here so far. Looking at the top 11 positions have not changed since the drop of the green here, Matt. The first driver to gain some spots is that 52 of Paul Sheldon, able to gain up into the 12th position. But other than that, everybody's right where they started here. So pretty much we got about 200 plus mile an hour pace laps. As Seth Gruber, I think, was listening to me, said, yeah, let's change that here. He's going to hop to the top there. And I believe that's John Ward, I believe, that was thinking about going up with him. But he has second thoughts, and that's actually going to, that looks like may stick the 02 here up on the outside line without any help.
Where's Keith Horner at?
Yeah, exactly. That's the question. Where is that 37 truck? Let's go find him. And right now, Keith...
He got a little bump into the wall.
Oh, yeah, 02 and the outside wall here. He's going to be able to hang on to it there. That's going to drop him back a fair bit. You can see the damage to the side of that truck there. Let's go back and try to get a better look what exactly happened to Seth there, unfortunately. But that may drop him now back to that second pack here. So we'll take a look here as we go once again here. Look at the start-finish line. We'll pick it up to speed a little bit.
Oh, I can't really tell there, Gael.
Yeah, it looked like kind of just going for the same real estate there. Not sure. Say he kind of looked like he came down a little bit. Say it's one of those things where though, it's
Deal.
yeah, you never know, and say it's too hard to make calls and judgment calls of that kind of situation. But yeah, unfortunately, that has cost him the lead draft, so that's going to bring Jay Hilliard and company back to him. As up front though, still Sebastian Marin leading this field, as we've now starting lap number 9 here.
You know, it could be an advantage. You probably got one of the best pushers to help that group come back up.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad thought there. It just depends on the damage, how much it's affecting him. The problem is getting him organized quickly will be a tough position to be in there for that O2 truck. So,
oh yeah, he's pretty beat up.
Yeah, that right side's pretty hurt. You see he's moved to the top here, try to let that second pack on by. And again, lap time wise though, Matt, that second pack is a 48.88 for Jay Hilliard to a 48.11 for Sebastian Marin, JD Crow. So again, still about 7 tenths off, and that gap is now over 7 seconds between now Bud Steele's last truck in the draft to that first truck of Jay Hilliard. So as at this point, unless something drastically changes on the pace, say that second pack from 25th on back is unfortunately going to need a yellow to get back into the thick of this thing.
Yeah, they're pretty much in trouble right now. They're going to need a caution, or they really better get organized and organize quick, because that gap is increasing every lap that ticks by.
Yeah, just unfortunate not going the right way. This time by they're only about 4 tenths of a second slower, but I mean still 4 tenths is a fair bit of time there, as it's like I said, it's grown to about 7.5 seconds between Bud Steele and Jay Hilliard. Although I'm looking back at Bud here, I say he's still in the draft here, but I get a little nervous when you start to fall this far off the back, especially when you have no help. So I'll say we'll try to keep an eye on Bud here, make sure he's able to regain that momentum back up to those guys. But I say when you're on your own about half second back, you start to get a little nervous, and I was definitely kind of feeling the nerves there on my side. It looks like the ticker's starting to go back the right way for that 6 truck, so he's right on the edge of that draft here. But yeah, I mean, right now still sitting at, again, about 180 mile an hour pace laps, almost it feels like right now so far here. But also getting to about just into the halfway point of this fuel run, Matt. Saying I think that's where we're going to start to see a lot of change start to happen. But I think these guys, especially the playoff guys, I think they know what's in store here, and I think these guys just playing a little bit extra cautious as watching the start finish line here. It's going to be tight between Gabe and Sebastian. Sebastian once again noses just ahead of that one truck, so I'm not sure if that one has led a lap or not yet tonight. So I think that's going to be something that Gabe's going to want to accomplish here though at some point sooner than later.
You're talking about the draft of that 6 truck. The thing I learned about these trucks, you can be really far back with these trucks and still be able to pick up the draft better than an Xfinity car. You could probably pick up the draft to about 1.2 seconds with these trucks. You'll be still able to hold it, but if those cars start pushing up front, you're in deep trouble.
Yeah, and that's the concern I have is actually right now you see once again that outside line just loses so much momentum through the turns here. Again, I think everybody's just playing it nice, playing it easy here. Again, talk about championship contenders there. I mean, you've got the 23 and the 1 here on the front row. You got the 14 of Vicente. He's not too far back right there as well. Eric Lorry's right in this main pack as well. So you've got a lot of the main playoff guys right here up in the front with those top about 7 or 8 or so. And they say Maxwell Caldwell just a little further back there in 18th position in that number 94 truck. And then again, a lot of those TW guys, though, it's like 3 of them in the playoffs. So say they're right now on the outside, really looking in the point side of things. So I'm actually going to double check to see where everybody is in that. And so that group in the back, I mean, again, you've got Robert Rock, you've got Todd Siebels, and you've got Dean Wilkinson. Those are the ones that are in that second pack. And then up front, Maxwell Caldwell, Gabe Butler, Vicente Guerrero, Eric Lorry, Sebastian Marin. So right now, not the way these guys want things to go here in that second pack.
No, because the things might change. The racing might change drastically between the playoffs and the regular season. These guys might drive a little bit more cautiously because of the playoff drivers out there. Pretty much less risk-taking, as you would say. Probably about less 3 wide action here. especially here at Daytona. Talladega, it's a different story. I have no idea how these guys would race there during the playoffs, but as I said, people will probably take less risks.
I think the teammates become a bigger factor as well. For instance, like right now, you got JD Crowe, Joe Della Vecchia, not in the playoffs, but very, very accomplished and really fast super speedway racers. So I mean, they're right now, I think, just trying to help out some of their teammates here tonight in that number 23 and the number 5, or sorry, in the number 1, and. So, I mean, right now their job is to try to keep their drivers towards the front of this field, control this race. You see the 25, Brian Wang, he's in this group as well. So, there's a lot of really good restrictor plate racers that didn't make the playoffs here for one reason or another. But again, can play a big outcome in this one just by trying to work with their teammates who are in it. And we've seen how selfless a lot of these guys are just in single races, much less the playoff hunt.
Yeah, once we get pit stops underway, then we'll know where everybody shakes out, and because as well as I know, the field will probably spread out here.
Yeah, usually the field definitely breaks up over the pit stop cycle, and unfortunately, I think that bubble is just about popped for that 6 truck here, Matt, because he's now showing about 7/10 of a second behind William McKellar there. And so I don't know. Actually, I'm watching the ticker once again here. It's again starting to point back in the right direction. Looks like they're starting to drift around a little bit.
Yeah, he's fine.
That little hiccup right there actually just gained him like 3 to 4 tenths on these guys in front. So that, I think, honestly may have saved his race right now.
As long as he doesn't drop if he drops over a second, I will be really concerned.
Yeah, I was getting nervous, but I say he's now right back into this pack, and I think you see here he's actually staying to the bottom and just starting to move a little bit further forward. So I think that might be kind of like, that was a little too close for comfort for me. But yeah, so right now, like I said, we've still got the top 24 trucks here in this lead pack. Let's say a few names, few faces that are, again, kind of non-playoff drivers and also kind of new to the league here as well. Might as well give them some TV time here too. You got the 00 Jack Daniels truck of Brandon Briggs. Let's say he's making a good early showing here as well. I mentioned John Warden, that 92. Say one of his first starts here with this league as well, if I'm not mistaken. So, and also say it's hard to not see that Lamborghini paint scheme on the truck there of that 955.
I'm a big fan of that guy's channel. Daily Driven Exotics, I'm a big fan of his. That's what that paint scheme came from.
Okay. See, so these are things I'm not familiar with, and that's right. We need to get in touch with them because we want to find out how we could get involved in having some daily driving for some exotics. However, we missed something up front, Matt. We have a new leader towards the front here, Gabe Butler. He has found his way to the lead and to the inside line, so I think you can check off that lap led list now on that number 1.
Still an awesome racer. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he is definitely one of those cool, calm, and collected drivers, and it takes a lot to rattle him. So, I say wouldn't be surprised to see Gabe once again in the thick of it in this in the playoffs. And it seems like also once the playoffs kick off, he just is able to turn it to another gear as well. So, another driver that we haven't talked about yet that also relatively new to the league, that 048 of Andrew Schroeder. So he's got that New York Jets paint scheme on his Ford F-150. I say right now sitting in the 18th position, just about where he started. And I say in the lead pack right now, our highest climber is that number 94 of Maxwell Caldwell. Saying he's got a couple playoffs to be going after here, Matt. He's got tonight. He's in the playoffs here for these trucks. Also in the playoffs on the Monday Next Gen Series as well. So he's going to have his hands full over these next few weeks of trying to get some titles here with Area 51.
I have a long way to go to get a title for Area 51. Especially on the Indy side. It is what it is, but,
Yeah, so with the talent of these leagues, every season feels like we've just been picking up more and more talents between all the series. Obviously on the Super Speedway side, the Next Gen Series, the Indy Series, just the talents has just been showing up as unfortunately, at some point, unfortunately for Seth Groover, he actually fell off that second pack, and that's now dropped him into the clutches of this lead pack here. You see him, he's going to run up against the wall here, let the leaders go by on that outside lane. But unfortunately, that's going to drop the 0-2 to 1 lap down. However, is going to be the only truck one down But what's going to be happening here pretty soon, though, Matt, is we're right in that pit stop window, and I think you're starting to see some of those drivers that were kind of on cruise control starting to maybe try to push their way up a little bit here. I see Jack Walls, Michael Spell. I think they're starting to realize, okay, it's about time to start making that push towards the front here, because we expect to see those leaders in soon. And then, again, you kind of do that early savings. That way, then you can make that big charge a little later on. So we'll keep an eye on that. As also on the outside now, you've got John Ward, Paul Sheldon trying to make that second lane go here, as well as I think these guys all, you can see kind of the inside line all really starting to form pretty aggressively for that pit stop.
Oh boy, I think William might lose the draft here. He's in danger right now.
The one hope for William is the fact that we do have pit stops coming up, so if he can get a good entry, that could get him back into the thick of things. But right now, these guys still look like they're going to stay in this pack here. Looks like, I think I just saw the O2 of Seth Gerber. He's going to hit pit road on his own there. Say maybe just having to use a little bit more fuel when running on his own there, unfortunately, or maybe the damage, of course, as well. So, but yeah, keeping an eye on William. It looks like he's actually gotten back up there, so it's still going to hold that 24 in the lead pack. But yeah, whenever you're that last truck on the lead lap, you always got to be a little careful not to fall too far back. But here comes that second pack, though, Matt. I'm watching, or sorry, the outside line, I should say. We talked about Jack Walls and Michael Spell. They've jumped up to that outside, and then also that 37 Keith Horner leading a few trucks there. He's got Jason Adams and the 13 of Kyle Heath. I say this is where you try to start if you're just saving fuel that whole run. Now you make the big move. As here comes our first group. Yep, and it was going to be a big pack of trucks here hitting pit road. So you've got some of our contenders: Sebastian Marin, Gabe Butler, JD Crow, Joe Della Vecchia, Brian Wings in pit road as well, Eric Laurie, Robert DuPont, Maxwell Caldwell. And then actually here comes the second pack as well, by those TW boys, all hitting pit road as well. I say again, some of these guys have one of the first pit stalls, so they are able to jump in quickly and efficiently there, it looks like. And then also, so yeah, on the playoff side of things, pretty much our whole field here on the playoff drivers all hitting pit road right there together. However, the second pack here, led by John Ward, looks like they're going to try to go at least one more stop here.
Here come the leaders. They're coming down pit road this time.
And we'll see if anybody tries to stretch one further lap. You see Jack Walls trying to make sure he's got room. You see everybody starting to try to just find a little bit of space. And I'll say that window tightens very quickly as you hit pit road, but it looks like everybody's done a good job to do so. So that's going to be basically one lap cycle here, Matt, between our entire field hitting pit road. And so now it's going to be to see where is the cycle, who's going to be the winner on pit road. Oh, 17 overshoots his pit stall just a little bit. One of our playoff contenders, Vicente Guerrero, he stayed out that one extra lap, so I think he was kind of the odd man out. So now we're going to watch that 14, 32, 92. They're going to come all out together. 83 right now as well. Now we're going to be watching to see where they start to merge in relation to that second pack, which right now I believe is being led by Sebastian Marin. And it looks like it was a good pit stop because they are already heading their way through the field here.
You know, look at JD Crow and Maxwell Caldwell group. They are just smoking right now.
Yeah, so job done for those top three right there. They've been able to get through. They're going to easily cycle through to the front. But now this is the question mark, though. Will that second pack, can they catch that group, which right now is, like you said, Maxwell Caldwell, the last of those. So at the moment, looks like it could be a 7-truck breakaway with Sebastian Marin. Gabe Butler there in 7th. Robert DuPont, a great pit stop for him in 3rd. And then, like I said, that second pack coming on strong there. JD Crow, Joe Della Vecchia, Brian Wing, and Maxwell Caldwell. As you see, they're actually going to take the momentum, try to work to the outside here. Because already, Matt, just with that second pack that pitted the lap later, trying to get up to speed, they are already 3.5 seconds off of Maxwell. And they do have a pretty solid pack here, though. So once again, here we'll see, can 7 trucks, as well organized as they can be, will it be quicker than this big pack that's trying to chase them down?
Man, I really don't want to sham that guy's last name. That is a hell of a last name. Joe Della Vecchia. Did I get that correct?
You nailed it, sir. First try.
Okay, because he is giving JD Crow a hell of a push.
And so this is interesting, though, Matt. We've seen bigger groups run single file. This is a 7-truck group, and they're actually running 2x2. Again, you always kind of question what's going to be the fastest way to race around here. As right now, last time by, they ran a 48.25 and a 48.10. as they were side by side. That pack behind, being led by John Ward, was a 48.45, so about 2/10 slower. But again, right now you got the 92, the 14, the 83 leading that second pack. And then you got to actually drop back to the third pack here of Eric Laurie here, and he's leading some of those TW Motorsports drivers there with Todd Siebels, Jimmy Reynolds. And say they've fallen back about another 7 to 8 seconds. So this pit stop cycle has really spread this field out once again.
Yeah, I'm really concerned about that second pack. They are losing about 3/10 a lap compared to the leaders now. Now, if they would just trade the draft and the leaders cycle up to the back, what we used to do back in the day in the Xfinity side, it might work out well for them.
Yeah, and say last time by, again, like you said, another 3/10 or so, so 48.09 to a 48.37. So yeah, so just about 3/10 of a second once again. And so you can see the difference. Again, they still are staying pretty committed to that single file. And I feel like it should or could work if they stay aggressive. But again, we talked about the two trains of thought. And I think if you see these guys in front of you stretching it away from you while running 2x2, that kind of makes me lean towards like, well, hey, if they're doing 2x2 and they're running 2 to 3/10 quicker than us, maybe that's something we should be trying on our side as well. So we'll see if they react to that or not. But right now, say that 7 truck pack here is starting to break away just a little bit from 8th on back.
As you can see, there's a second line trying to form.
Oh, yep, here they go. They've formed that second line like you talked about. A little bit of contact there, possibly. But now it's going to be the inside line. You got Vicente and the 32 truck there of BK Anderson. They're going to stay lined up together. Then they get the 83 and the 88 working the outside together. So we'll start watching lap times. And say if there's anybody who knows anything about super speedway racing, and say he's in our YouTube chat right now with Kevin Freeze. And yeah, he's saying that side-by-side is the faster way to go here. So we'll see. Once they get organized, that's going to be the first step. As you can see, there's just too much separation for these trucks, though, man. You can see almost a full truck length between some of these guys. If they can get well organized here, they've definitely got the numbers. Now that can they just get that pushing done to the same efficiency of that front pack?
Yeah, with these two teammates up in front right here, I think they will be able to catch him. BK Anderson and Vicente Guerrero, they work really well together, and they know each other's tendencies. Same Discord chat, teammates, it's you name it. I watch these guys race in the Xfinity side, and it's great chemistry between these two.
Yeah, so I'll say this will probably be one of our best laps to kind of compare to kind of an apples to apples lap to see how they do in relation to one another. And you also saw there Eric Laurie on back. They've also gone to 2x2 as well here. So we've got pretty much 3 solid packs of trucks. We do have a 4th pack, unfortunately, a fair bit further back with Jay Hilliard, Chummy Miller, and Bob Fitzgerald. We're going to jump back up front, though, because they look at lap time. So it's a 48.05 for Sebastian Marin. 48.33 for Vicente Guerrero. So about 0.2 of a lap slower. But definitely making the right gains, and they are starting to work their way. Like lap time wise, they are improving, but it's just a really tough combo up front there. I mean, we know how good of a pushers these guys are with each other.
Yeah, Jim Brooks needs to stay pretty much right on the rear bumper of BK, get that draft really working, and he's trying to stay locked on to that rear bumper of BK Anderson.
Yeah, right now it's these guys are running some pretty impressive lap times, like you said. Right now, we'll watch the lap time this time around. It was 48.05 last time, 48.24 for the inside line, 48.0. Oh, caution's out.
Caution.
And it looks like it's gonna be, I believe, possibly the 3rd pack here. As I saw the 00 of Brandon Briggs involved here. I think Robert Rock may have got a piece too.
Oh,
not
boy.
seeing too much. I'm not seeing too much significant damage so far. It looks like I'm gonna say Brennan's gonna get rolling again here too. So yeah, let's go back and take a look. But it doesn't look like it could have been as bad as it looked initially here. So let's go see if we can find what exactly happened here to bring out this caution. Like I said, it was towards the back half of the field here. So we'll watch Brandon Briggs. And
I'm looking at Robert Rock's truck. It's pretty clean.
Yeah, I think it's going to be right here with the 101 of Randy Miner just gets into the left rear there of Dean Wilkinson. And then unfortunately from there, just kind of that accordion effect. It looks like, I think that was Keith Horner, if I'm not mistaken, getting a little bit of a piece of that as well. And then, yeah, it looks like actually Robert Rock just going to the apron to trying to avoid the contact there. And then, like I said, that 00 just trying to hang on to that truck, just kind of got that tank slapper going. And just unfortunately looks like comes right across the path of Robert. But looks like Robert gets clean there, gets through unscathed. So, yeah, I think as a whole, these guys going to get away with it pretty well there. And then trying to see who that last truck in that pack is that was also involved in there. It looks like the 37, but he's too far forward. So we'll double check to see which truck that is that was involved. But yeah, honestly, that could have been a lot worse of an incident than it was. And it's going to be a big break for a lot of these drivers here. So going to be on lap number 32, coming to 33 here, Matt. So I say this should be... This will be tight on fuel. I think this puts them right in the window to make it on a one-stopper to the end. It'll be close, though.
I would expect everybody to hit pit road right here.
Yeah, I think you have to hit pit road here, and it looks like, yeah, everybody's thinking the exact same thing. So we're going to have the whole field hitting pit road here. One driver staying out, Jason Adams. They're a little surprised by that, but we'll see. Maybe some strategy involved on that 24 truck as they do hit pit road here.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah, we'll have to see how this pans out here. As you see, here they go, all coming out pretty much once again lockstep with one another. But yeah, otherwise the entire field here all gonna come around. And the worst part about all this too, Matt, was the fact that I believe Seth Groover, who was gonna be that lucky dog position truck, with him getting a piece of that incident as well, takes him out of the running for that lucky dog. So I think he stays at least, if I'm not mistaken, at least the one lap down that he was. I'm not sure, but I believe it looks like he's still trapped one down in that 02 truck. So just hasn't been the night so far for Seth here.
Yeah, Marin beat Gate Butler back out.
Yeah, that's number one pit stall to full advantage there for Sebastian. So some notable things, though, for that incident, though, Matt, obviously, other than bringing the field all back together, it does unfortunately cost Dean Wilkinson, though, the 5 bonus points for incident-free race. Even though it was nothing of his doing, he's still going to obviously have probably either a 4X or a 2X for a spin or car contact. So that's going to be a tough break for Dean there. And now I think the big question here is the strategy here. Do you top off right now or not? Because if my numbers are right here, I think this time around we'll be at 42 laps to go, which would be basically, basically 21 laps per cycle here. So, and it looks like not a lot of takers actually. It looks like I think that green run, and I think everybody getting spaced out really kind of made drivers hesitate on it. Say Michael Spell, he's going to take that little extra splash of fuel. Looks like some tires as well, but otherwise not a lot of takers here. Matt, Robert Rock, Brandon Briggs, Dave Bingle. They're all going to hit. And actually, it was Dave Bingle was the other truck involved in the incident. Sorry, I was trying. It's matching paint schemes, I believe, with that 37 truck of Keith Horner. Actually, no, I'm sorry. He's changed cereals. He's Lucky Charms now. So he's got a little sugary. He's added a little more sugar to his cereal here tonight.
Oh God. Well, I was trying to figure out why didn't Seth get his lap back? Was he 2 down at that point?
No, he was 1 down, but he was unfortunately involved in the incident as well. And so, yeah, he's wrong place, wrong time. Nothing he did wrong. It's just unfortunate. I think he got doored there on the side there when the 101 and the 55 made contact. So, however, Jason Adams here, Matt, he stays out. He last pitted at 23. Everybody else now pitting at 32. Little nervous about his fuel numbers because he's going to have to pit about 8 to 9 laps before anybody else, and unless there's yellow, he will be doing that completely on his own here.
It's quite interesting.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, we've seen crazier things happen that a strategy and a gamble usually. Sometimes we've seen it pay off to big success. So. We'll have to keep an eye on that, but it's going to be Jason Adams leading the field. And again, honest restart, he has full control, can go as late or as early as he wants or wait for that green flag to fly. And it looks like he waited for that green flag as we get back to green. And I'll say it might be a break here for Gabe Butler. It looks like he's going to be able to kind of push him going forward here maybe gets an opportunity to try to jump in front of that 23 Sebastian Marin, but that outside line already makes some big moves on that outside line, getting up to speed.
Yeah, especially with Mr. Crow giving Sebastian Marin a big push going down the backstretch right now.
Yeah, and that's what we're used to seeing, is that outside line making big momentum here.
Wow.
Unfortunately, though, that 00 Brandon Briggs, he has lost the draft on this restart, so he's going to be in trouble. And honestly, William McCullough as well may be in trouble here as well in that 75 trucks.
That could be a little strategy of probably Jason let those two go by, so save a little bit of fuel, but as you said, they're so far out of fuel sync with the other guys that just pitted. What is it, 5 to 6 laps? That's a handful.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to save that margin back in that 24 truck, so he's going to need the right caution at the right time. So we'll keep an eye on that. But right now, what it's changed though is it's moved Gabe Butler now to about the third or fourth truck back on the inside line. And now it's brought Brian Wing, Maxwell Caldwell right to the point here. They're going to try to lead that outside line, as Maxwell is going to try to tag onto the back of that 25 and see if he can shove him on through. Because again, I say this is where, I mean, Maxwell's going to have some interest in this, because if he can shove that 25 around that 23, if he drops to the inside line, that would allow Maxwell to lead that outside line as he does right there. This could be a chance for that number 94 here to try to get that lap led here at some point in this race, but he's going to need some big help there. And I say, that being said, he's got a good helper here, BK Anderson, now on his tailgate.
Yeah, that is. BK Anderson was one of the preliminary pushers in this league. Very good. He's going to help Maxwell quite well.
Yeah, I see already Maxwell just a nose ahead there entering 3. And so we'll see if that momentum shift gets him back towards the front here out of Forest. And that's all he needs. He just needs that one big push out of forward, get that lap led, and he can kind of check that one off his list to get those bonus points. And right now it's looking really good for that 94 truck. And it looks like no question here at the line. Yeah, Maxwell Caldwell going to lead that lap, give him a bonus point in that number 94. And I say puts him on par with that 23 and the 1 trucks for that playoff point.
I'm kind of interested to see what he does now since he got that lap led. Does he fall to the back, or does he stay where he's at?
Actually, we got a caution. Yeah, we got a crash in the back here. Trying to find where it is. Once again, it looks like Jimmy Reynolds involved. He's going to try to get the thing looped around and say it looked like it was whatever it was. I don't see very many trucks involved, which. Not a common thing, honestly, for us as well. But let's go back here once again and say, let me find Jimmy Reynolds here. So it looks like, it was towards the back half of this pack here. Already contact there, so let's back it up a little further here. And it looks like actually just kind of an accordion effect, and unfortunately Jimmy at the wrong spot to get the worst of it here. So we're going to look a little forward here. You see there, you see the 08 here, almost gets into the back of the 45 of Todd Siebels, and that really stacks up the inside line. And the 17, he tries to slow down, but unfortunately the 101 there, Randy Miner just wasn't quite able to get woed up in time, and that's what sends the 17 around here and it's right in front of those drivers there as well. So, and yeah, just unfortunately, it's like as he was trying to hang on to additional contact, maybe it's like, oh man, actually he goes up and over there. Through 1 and 2 there, as you see the 75 also gets a piece of him as well to give him even just a little bit more of a shot. So honestly surprised that thing's even running at this point, the tumbles he took, but so
wow, as
long as he has a faster pair, he should still be okay here. You can see already hitting pit road. He's going to come in a little early, but to me though, this caution, that strategy call, that big break, I think is going to be Jason Adams' best chance here. I do not see him staying out. I think he's going to have to hit pit road in that number 24 truck. And we're right at the halfway point here, Matt. So this could go either way on strategies if you want to pit or stay out. I like the shorter pit stop, so I would most likely come in like these guys are. But I figured there would be gamblers, and I say who's more of a gambler than Bud Steele? He's going to stay out. He's going to get a lap led possibly right there at the line. But he's going to have some friends here. He's going to have Kyle Heath stay out. He's going to have Jack Wall stay out. Jim Brooks. Michael Spell.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Gael. Who else had the big break right now? That would be Seth Groover.
Oh, yep.
He's
Finally,
their
Steph.
lucky dog recipient.
Yep. Finally getting that. Say took one more caution to get him back on the lead lap. So he's going to swing around here, get back on the point. So that's going to leave us 33 drivers on the lead lap, which I believe is also 33 drivers in the race here. I think John Ward, James Hickson may have retired if I'm not mistaken. And then that for the battle off of pit road, it's going to be Sebastian Marin winning that fight off of pit road in front of Brian Wang. But now he's going to be restarting in the 6th position on back. So this is pretty much the furthest back he's ever been so far in this race. So pretty much most of the Roswell team, it looks like here, Matt, opting to stay out here, try to take control of this track position, knowing that we're pretty much on a one-stopper to the end. So now at this point, they'll just need to have probably an extra, let's say, 6 maybe or so laps of fuel compared to those guys that pitted.
Yeah. It's going to be the field has shaken up quite a bit now. I was quite interested in how everything plays out now.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting because, I mean, you look at the top 5 right now, from Bud Steele to Michael Spell. It's plus 21 for Bud, plus 23 for Kyle Heath, plus 16 Jack Walls, plus 9 for Jim Brooks, and plus 16 for Michael Spell. So this was definitely, I think, a good strategy call for these guys to get that track position, because we've seen these guys have just pretty much been running comfortably 2x2 all race long. As they now split to the halfway point, and now it kind of changes the strategies up a little bit. So it kind of forces now for Sebastian Marin, Brian Wing, JD Crow and company. Do you stay content and just ride 2x2 like you've been doing up front this whole race, or do you feel like you need to try to get that third lane for him to try to get yourself back in control in this race in the front of the field? But obviously, again, a narrower track here, Daytona than Talladega, but also then knowing you still do again have that 4 to 5 to 6 lap advantage over those guys that stayed out here, knowing you have a shorter pit stop. Maybe that would be enough to make a difference if we get to that green flag pit stop here, which again, that window probably, about 15 laps, I'd say, Matt, it opens up?
Yeah, about 15, close to 18. So what you just said about our top 5 here, pretty much all teammates there, if they both could control both lanes, I think it's going to work out tremendously for those drivers.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see what they have here. So it's going to be Bud Steele leading the field. He's going to have Kyle Heath next to him. And then, yeah, Jack Walls, Jim Brooks, row 2, Michael Spell, row 3. So that basically puts Sebastian Marin the furthest up in the outside of row number 3. But you're right, though. I mean, if they can just work together, they could just stay 2x2 like we've kind of seen at the beginning portion of this race here. Just with new names, new faces. So we'll have to see kind of, again, what the strategy is going to be for these guys from 6th on back. I was going to say bonus points and things like that always in the minds of these drivers here. So we'll see. Pace car is off. It's going to hand it over to that number 6 truck of Bud Steele. Kyle Heath to his outside as we're back under green here with 35 to go at the line.
I was kind of curious to see if Sebastian Marin takes the 3rd lane. I'm just quite curious to see if Jim Brooks can hold that 2nd line and keep those drivers back there right behind him. But nope.
Gabe's already looking.
Yeah, right at that top line right there.
And I mean, you look though, say you have drivers reacting to Gabe, not sure which lane's the lane you want to protect. As you see Jim try to get to the middle there, was too late. Sebastian's already there. That's going to pin Jim to the outside line in front of that one truck of Gabe Butler. And now Sebastian's going to lead that, or be behind the 13 on that middle lane. So that answers our question. They were ready to go here quickly, early and often, as these guys are, you can see a lot more movement now right after this first lap.
Yeah, I think realistically, I think Jim was going for the block. I think he knew Gabe was coming and never even looked at Sebastian Marin with that run.
Yeah, saying Gabe's still looking at that outside line, wants to try to still move himself forward as well. I would say he might have an opening. He could squeeze in front of that 94 of Maxwell Caldwell on the inside, but it looks like that already has filled up. As you see a big bobble there from Kyle Heath getting that push from Sebastian Marin. So say we crossed the halfway point, Matt, changed the running order a little bit here. And say it feels like it's turned into a whole different race now.
Now we got their first 3 trucks right on the bottom, all teammates. Now the guys on the top lane, they're all pretty much the same teammates there too. I'm kind of interested to see what's going to happen here.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a risk versus reward right now. Say, just what's the right strategy to take here? I mean, I'm watching Gabe. He's been definitely keeping really tight on that 51. I think just maybe hoping that 51 makes a little bobble, lets him sneak around him. Right now, these guys controlling the pace here pretty well. We got one just kissing the wall there out of 2. Looks like everything's going to be okay though. As we continue under green, and here comes that third line. The Sebastian Mayer was able to squeeze to the inside there and put that 13 to the outside line here. But you see Gabe Butler, he tried to get up there too. He's going to have to fall back in line here, so that's going to allow the 23 and the 5 lead the outside lane. Jim Brooks, though, he's going to tag on with them, still in front of that number 1 of Gabe Butler here, as we're going to cross line here at 31 to go.
I'm pretty scared about some of these trucks are running in the back. They might lose the pack here.
I'm afraid to go back, look in the back, because right now these guys are running 3x3 here for just a little bit. That one trying to get to the outside of the 51. And saying, again, it's a tight track here to do that. You see the 13, he's picked up that number 51 to try to help that middle lane. And here, look at these guys. They're all going to jump to the outside there, I think, try to help that outside lane as well here. But Gabe's got some good help there on the outside. I believe that maybe, yeah, that's going to be BK Anderson trying to work that third lane. So we are now officially 3x3 here, Matt. The 1, the 32, the 052 working that third lane. Oh, a little bubble by Bud Steele. He's going to just hang on to it, but that was a close moment there. And that could have been just tragedy for a bunch of these guys up front. But right now, Jack Walls, Michael Spell, they're trying to lead that middle lane, as Gabe Butler's still trying to get that outside line to his advantage and try to get himself back to the thick of it. But these guys are racing like we're within 10 to go here, Matt.
It's pretty scary right now. Usually I would see that 37 car up there, but I think he's playing it safe right now. I think that is the best choice right now, because these cars are dancing around a lot and getting kind of scary looking up toward the front right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the booth and I'm nervous right now. I mean, if that says anything. So definitely happy to be up here, because if I was in this race, I'd be...
That was a little bit of contact right there.
Oh.
6 and 83.
Yeah, and then say almost the 80 and the 51 and the one truck. You see Gabe, I think he had to roll out of it in order not to wreck. You see the 83 squeezing that 5 truck. Like I said, these guys are side drafting and squeezing each other. Like, we've got 5 to go. I mean, we're still at 29 to go here. We're not even in the final pit stop yet, Matt. And the wick has been turned up to 11 here. These guys are going after everything right now.
Well, remember what I said about playoff picture? I would be riding in the back right about now. I'd be scared for my life to be running up front. I'd be scared to get in an accident, lose that bonus, those precious 5 bonus points, because that's big.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So yeah, I'm definitely more comfortable where those TW Motorsports drivers are right now, like you're saying. I say it's calmed down for the moment here up front now. Jack Wall is leading that second pack, or second line, I should say. I'm sorry. I say the one of Gabe Butler, he's had to roll in behind that 13 of Kyle Heath, because I say he tried to make that third lane happen. You actually see a little bit of scuffs on his left side, so there has been some contact at some point. I would believe probably between himself and the 51 of Jim Brooks. Like I said, those were the two that were really running side by side there over the course of a few laps. And then I say, didn't take too long. Someone's going to try to make that third lane happen again. This time it's going to be that 02 truck of Seth Groover. He's trying to work that third lane. We'll see if anybody's going to try to pick up along with him here.
Right now it would be quite dangerously. I think he was riding in the back quite earlier. I think it's your smart play right now. But he did not use his fast repair. That is smart right now.
So right now, Sebastian Mayer continues to lead the way. He's got a good help from JD Crow behind him. And then you got Bud Steele there sitting in third. But again, Matt, these guys are all on different strategies now. The 23 and the 5 pitted at 39. Jack Walls, Michael Spellman coming all pitted around 32, 33. So there is a pretty significant lap difference between these guys. So at some point, if we do get to that green flag pit stop, then we'll start to see everything change about here. And again, I think the strategy would be a good call here to go a little bit off sequence. If you can get big enough group here to come in together.
Oh, we got a little contact between the 83 and the 6. Oh,
yeah, but man. Still Jack Walls just about a little bit too much contact there out of 4. It's definitely these guys are going for every inch of track right now. And that's even more reason for me to think, you know what, I think once you get to 20 to go, it gives you maybe about 2 or so laps of margin on fuel. I think if you got a big enough group of trucks, you hit pit road as soon as you feel safe in that window. Because right now, yeah, I'm again in the booth. I am nervous right now.
Well, you see how much time Gabe Butler, 5 truck, the 83 truck, they all gained time by coming down pit road and just try to separate themselves between the pack. I mean, it'll be a smart play right now because, well, you got to think about the green-white checker here. So I'll probably be aimed around probably about lap 55 here.
Yeah,
maybe 56.
Yeah, I mean, to me, 20 to go seems safe-ish. It definitely doesn't give you a lot of margin to play with. So we might see drivers closer to like 18 to go, 17 to go. That gives you probably about a 5-lap margin, which I think at that point is a no-brainer. But yeah, so you talk about drivers that are kind of playing it calm right now and playing it safe. We talked about earlier about the TW guys. So you got Robert Rock right now sitting in 31st right now. Still in the lead packs on the lead lap as well. Dean Wilkinson right in front of him. And also Todd Siebel's right there as well on the TW Motorsports banners of drivers there. And then you got to jump a little further up here to find that number 14 of Vicente Guerrero. And he is right in kind of my little happy space, which is right outside of that 2x2, 3x3 racing. Single file, you got room around you to react if you need to. So I really like where Vicente is here. This is kind of, to me, is always the safest place. You don't risk losing the draft, and you've got some wiggle room if something else happens up front. And then, of course, I mean, it's kind of a gaggle of trucks up front to try to figure out what the rest of those playoff guys are. You've got, obviously, the 23, the 1, the 94s are getting a little bobble there with the 25 and the 6 there. So like I say, you've got pretty much the rest of the playoff drivers there right in this pack here up front.
Now I'm looking at the front two groups here. Two cars has separated themselves between the third car line. Now I was thinking that top line would take advantage of that. Oh no, but Michael Spell decides to duck low, and so does Jack Walls, leaving Jim Brooks on the top line.
I think they're going to try to I have a feeling they're going to try to get that 51 in here. And I think this is them showing their hand. They know they're going to want to be pitting here pretty soon. So yeah, so that's going to leave Jim to lead this outside line in front of Kyle Heath. I think Kyle's working with them in Discord as well. So wouldn't be surprised you might see an opening here for them at some point in between these guys. But they might have some other ideas in mind, try to see if they can just get in front of that 23 and the 5 before they have to hit pit road. But again, so this is that lap difference. I mean, it's not out of the question to see that these trucks try to keep them pinned on the outside line since they can go further on fuel. I mean, it's definitely a strategy to try to keep your opposition away from being able to pit. So we'll see. I think once things get to like absolute desperation mode, I think we'll see teammates let that outside line squeeze in that 13 and the 51. But right now, I think they're going to see if they can find a way to get in front of them before they have to drop to the inside to hit pit road, because they're right on the edge of fuel now, Matt. But like I said, I think 20 to go is probably the earliest we see anybody hit pit road.
I think you nailed the head. Hit the nail right on the head there, buddy. I think about probably lap 57, lap 58. I'm thinking majority of the field's going to come down pit road and try and separate themselves between the field.
Yes, and then the big question, of course, is going to also then be how much fuel do some of these drivers need to take to make it to the end. I mean, we know that the Roswell team that stayed out there, they're going to have to put a little more fuel in. And I think the biggest question mark to me is that difference of, do they have to plug in that second can or not? Because if some of these guys, if they can make it on one can of fuel, Matt, to the end, that is a much quicker pit stop, because you lose a ton of time when you have to switch from that first can to the second can of fuel. So I think that also plays into the strategy for those that maybe pitted and also maybe topped off or saving right now. Is see Gabe Butler, he finds an opening, he slots in right behind his teammates there at 23 and the 5. So I'd say he's able to get himself into a safe position as well. Again, this might be starting to see, because it's going to be coming to 20 to go this time around. We'll see if we have any takers here as they come out of 4. And it looks like no takers yet.
No takers. Maybe probably in the next 3 laps. That would be my call. But I'm seeing a lot of cars starting to duck to the bottom here. Like you just saw a lap ago, Gabe Butler just dropped to the bottom there. probably here in the next couple of laps.
Yeah, and I see Jack Walls. He was making space there. You saw 13 Kyle Heath. He squeezed in. We'll probably see either Kyle or Jack again make some space to try to drop Jim Brooks on in. But that's the thing is for Jim, he can't back off too much because he's going to have a mirror full of BK Anderson just trying to shove him forward, trying to get himself to the front.
That was a squeeze by the O2 of Seth Groover. Wow, I just don't know how he did that. It was almost an accident when that happened.
And that's when things get dangerous, when they start to squeeze each other as tight as they do. But yeah, I mean, everybody's trying to find a way to fit in there. You just saw Joe Della Vecchia. He was able to find a hole. Jim Brooks now finds a way to sneak in there as well. And that leaves BK Anderson right now kind of stuck on the outside. But again, BK, though, I mean, he did pit there. So, I mean, he's got some fuel to spare. So I think this is actually an opportunity for if he and Jack Wall, or sorry, not Jack Walls, he and Eric Laurie, if they can hook up with that 37 Keith Horner, I say you make a charge of that outside line. And actually look at, I think that's what they're doing right here. Look at those guys, Sebastian Mayer and JD Crow and Company. They have moved up here to pick up their teammates there, Joe Della Vecchia. They're going to try to help them get further to the front here. So interesting strategy here, not protecting that yellow line like we usually see, but you can see how effective it was. I mean, look at that right there. They were able to clear those 6 trucks and get to the bottom once again. That
is crazy. I never really thought it like that. That's just a fairly impressive move.
No, it's a big move. And so here's our first takers here, and it's going to be TW Motorsports drivers. They're going to hit pit road. You got Todd Siebels there, Dean Wilkinson, Robert Rock. 3 of our playoff contenders are going to be the first to hit pit road. Looks like they all hit their pit stalls nicely there. So you see there's the 171. He's going to hit pit road as well. So they're going to be the first to hit pit road. They're at 18 to go. So I think this will probably start to open up the window for the rest of these drivers, and then it's just how big of a pack do we see hit pit road together.
Yeah, we'll see a big difference in time here, see how much they gained or lost. I really see, just to see how between Al Senna, Robert Rock, and all them get for in single foul. Well, here we go. We got more takers.
Yeah, so this is a bunch of the Roswell guys, and I think a few others. You see, close there between Michael Spell and a few trucks there, Bud Steele and the 07 there of Robert DuPont. Then you got Andrew Schroeder, Jason Adams, Chummy Miller. So say another big pack here. So this is now where usually we talk about drivers pitting early as the advantage because you kind of get back up to speed quicker in theory. But I think this is where these guys just need to go full aggressive here. That 23, the 5 and company, they just need to basically push as if they're trying to go to win this race here. Because this could be their make or break pit stop. And looking at pit stop times, there was a pretty big spread of how quick their pit stops were. And it was about a 12 plus second stop for a few of those drivers like Jim Brooks and company, as here comes a bunch of the next trucks here to hit pit road.
Oh, we had an accident on pit road between the 88 and the 07. They made contact with, on pit road there. They lost a ton of time, and I think the only way they can save now is a caution flag.
Yeah, so we'll see. But say we got the rest of the field here on pit road now. Sebastian Marin leading that pack, and again they were charging that pit stall, and it looks like they also just hit their pit stall as well without going over. As you can see, Gabe and Sebastian hitting pit road and leaving right on cue with one another. So it's going to be interesting to see. Again, we'll see where they come out in relation, because right now it's Jack Walls leading this pack that already pitted. TB Motorsports drivers on the outside line there. But they're just crossing the start-finish line while Sebastian Marin's already working his way into turn number 2. So, as he's drifting turn number 2, they're just trying to get everything out of that 23 truck. The problem is, though, they've got about a second and a half on JD Crow. And we'll see how they all cycle out, but this is going to be tight.
Yeah, them TW boys are really hauling right now, so we'll see.
Yeah, so right now we're going to watch Sebastian Mayer and Gabe Butler, but we're going to jump back to JD Crow because he is starting to pick up a little bit of ground on these guys. But yeah, so then we got to jump back to that second pack. Like you said, because it's being led by Jack Walls. They're about 3 seconds off the back. There's no contact between Jack. He's going to try to hang on to this. Is a dangerous move. Still sliding through the grass. He's still hanging on to it. He might stay green there. And somehow he hangs onto that track, and we do stay green. But that slows down the pace of that outside line, or that second pack, I should say, Matt. And yeah, they're at about now 4 seconds behind Randy Miner in that number 101 truck. So yeah, so right now, say advantage definitely going to those guys that went the furthest on that pit stop, as they have stayed in the draft with one another, and they have now they're just continually now growing that gap to those trucks behind them.
I'm gonna wait till the next time by, so yeah, I get an official time gap here between the leaders in the second pack here. About 0.8 of a second. It's not too bad. Between our TW boys, they had dropped more than 7 seconds behind the leaders there.
Yeah, no, they're in trouble now. So at this point, it's pretty much a 11 truck battle up front here. Eric Laurie, the last of those in this lead pack, he was able to hang on to these guys. But yeah, Todd Siebel's on back. You can see the distance there. It's about 6 seconds between Eric Laurie and Todd Siebel's. And now that top 11, they have all kind of attached together. They've also picked up a few trucks over the course of penalties and things like that. So, yeah, right now it's pretty much this is the lead battle here with 13 to go. And the playoff side of things, Matt, you've got Sebastian Mayer and Gabe Butler right there, 1-2. You've got Maxwell Caldwell there in 7th. And then you've got the 071 of Eric Laurie in the 11th position. So those are right now our playoff contenders that are in this lead pack here.
I may have to check on that. Has Keith Horner won an Area 51 race? I might have to check on that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I mean, it's the same thing. He's been in position a lot. We're going to have trouble, though.
Yeah, ow. Yeah, it's going to be a caution.
Yeah, and unfortunately,
commentator's curse. I'm sorry, Keith. I'm sorry.
But and the other thing that does is it affects a few of the playoff drivers. I think Maxwell Caldwell may have got a piece of it, and also brings that second group back into the mix here. And unfortunately, it was a good gesture gone wrong there. It was Bob Fitzgerald trying to get to the apron, let those leaders on by. Unfortunately, though, caught the apron and washed right back up into the field. So. It's never something you want to see, and just unfortunate, just a mistake there from that number 08 truck there. And as I never, this like I said, so you can kind of see him here already in that 08 there on the apron. Then he's just kind of you kind of wash up, just too much pace on the bottom line that drifted a 37 up into the 32. And then from there, everybody's just trying to react to stay out of it. You see the 101 get into the back of the 94. That sends him for a slide as well. But yeah, 32 and 37, a little bit of contact as Maxwell also goes for a bit of a ride. So wrong place, wrong time for Maxwell there and some of the others. Mm-hmm. And also, again, I mean, I think the big story too is that's probably enough to cost him the bonus points for an incident-free race as well. But then also, of course, brings back from about Todd Siebel's on back. We're going to pretty much have a full field here back on this restart, man. And we're going to be inside 10 to go.
Wow. This has really changed things a lot now. Now I'm curious. I'm going to see a lot of drivers hit pit road here. Fix some damage here. Keith Horner, Maxwell Caldwell. Yeah, I feel sorry for those guys. And running the clean race the whole time, and something bad goes wrong. Yeah,
and then the problem too is it was out of their control. There's nothing they can do there, so it's just a tough break, unfortunately. So the beneficiary of that though is going to be Paul Sheldon. That's going to put, I believe, Paul back onto the lead lap in that number 52. And that will leave, I believe, Bob Fitzgerald and Michael Spell 1 lap down, respectively. And it looks like, unfortunately, Robert DuPont has retired along with Jay Hilliard. We already mentioned John Ward and James Hickson. And then Jimmy Reynolds is multiple laps down as well. So, Matt, we're going to step away for a moment while these guys roll into yellow because we're going to have our hands full in this final 10 or so laps to go. So stick around. We've got a lot of excitement here in just a minute. All right, see, lights are off of the pace car. So again, right now we have 27 trucks back on the lead lap. And saying got some insight over on the 00 camp there of Brandon Briggs. It's survival mode now for that 00 truck. And honestly, I think that's probably going to be the theme of this final run here, Matt, because we're going to be restarting with 9 to go. And I mean, we already saw how ramped up those guys were before that last set of pit stops. I mean, and if you're those guys like Sebastian Mayer and Gabe Butler and company, you're like, all right, perfect. We've got them. We've got 11 trucks in this lead pack. We've ditched the rest of them. We can sell this amongst ourselves. And then that yellow comes out, and it's like, all right, now we're gonna have to play defense here. And let's say they're gonna want to get back up there. So I think survival mode probably actually a very accurate statement for a lot of these drivers here. So we're going to see if there's any strategies here. Do they wait till a green drops, Matt, or are they going to go a little early? Looks like we wait till green as we get back going here. 9 to go. Sebastian Mayer and Gabe Butler leading that front
row. I would have gone a little bit later. Just trying to keep that field punch up together. But as we saw last Sunday, that takeoff by Al Senna last week, that worked out to perfection, but he didn't get the win. But it may be in the back pocket thinking about last Sunday with these drivers.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something to think about. I think it could work for a green light checkered finish. I don't think it'll work for when you restart with like 9 to go. It's too much time to regain that momentum. But yes, I think a green light checker, I think that's actually a great strategy, Matt, because like I said, it leaves a lot of drivers scrambling. And just basically have to even have a chance to get back up to you. So, right now it's going to be all about kind of the pusher, that second truck and the third truck in line. So, I mean, right now it's kind of, I feel like obviously the 23 and the 1, they're masters of what they do, but I think there's going to be a little bit of eyes on Joe Della Vecchia, Eric Laurie on the outside line, and then JD Crow and Seth Groover on the inside line to see which lane they're able to kind of propel forward here. But at some point, and that some point looks like it's about to be now, there's going to be someone that's going to want to work that third lane, as it already is. I say third lane, and I see the 37 truck of Keith Horner peeking up to the top.
That ain't nothing new.
If there's an outside lane, Keith Horner's going to find it. So right now he needs friends, though. He doesn't have that yet. Yes. But again, as I say that, we got contact in the back, and that's going to involve Keith Horner. Once again, Jack Wall's involved, and just not the night for Keith here. Just it's gone from bad to worse, unfortunately, for that 37. And I think it may have been just him trying to find a way to get back into that second lane when he peaked up there. And like I said, I think these guys are all getting a little greedy there at the very end of this, towards the end of this race.
Yeah, he just apologized over the radio. It was just him trying to get into a line, and the 955 just kind of overreacted to it and just caused a big melee.
Oh, yeah.
Racing, it is what it is, but
it's coming to crunch time. Everybody's getting a little more aggressive, and that being said, though, I mean, look at this field here as they all sneak through. It looks like as a whole it turns into just a 2-truck incident, which could have been significantly worse.
Yes, sir.
And I think the happiest person about this, which is always a hard thing to say about incidents, though, I believe may be that 88 of Michael Spell. We'll keep an eye on that because I think that could put him back onto the lead lap here. So we're going to try to jump around and we'll find that 88 here because I am still showing him in front of Bob Fitzgerald on the track. But I think we'll find out as they come across start-finish line. So we'll watch that. But Matt, I'll say we got another quick yellow here. So we're not going to see much strategy for anybody up front. So we'll take advantage once again to get our breath ready. And because I'll say we're going to be watching a lot here. So we'll step away one more time and we get things back going here once again on the 1 to go. right, lights are back off of the pace car. Saying a little change of drivers around now here, though. We talked about it was being the 23 and the 1 leading the field here. Now it's going to be the 23 and the 5, with Gabe Butler being behind that 23 of Sebastian Marin. So say it might be an opportunity for Gabe here, try to shove Sebastian forward and then see if he can duck to the outside to get himself to be that lead car on that outside line. So again, I say a lot of teammates and stuff in play, and these guys, again, they're very selfless, Matt, but I feel like come playoff time there's going to need to be a little bit of selfishness. So we'll see if we see any of that here tonight. But then you got to look at some drivers that probably don't have any real agendas here. I mean, look at the 0-2 there of Seth Groover, now 4th, Alcina there in 6th. I think their agenda here is to get themselves the best results they can. And then again, on the non-teammate side of these guys up front, you've got now Todd Siebels up into that 8th position, who's going to want to work his way forward. And he's got a teammate behind him, that 55 Dean Wilkinson. So we'll see if they can find a way to get that third lane going here, because I think, again, we're going to restart this thing 4 to go, Matt, outside the green-white checkered territory as of yet. Next yellow, though, that would be green-white checkered, and I think went a little early. It looked like that 23 truck as they get back to green here, 4 to go.
Looks like they caught Seth Groover sleeping here.
Yeah, I think that was definitely a strategy call. And look right there, you see the 5. He does hop up, the one in front of the 5 there. That's going to be Joe Delavecchia now pushing the inside line. And I think these guys are saying, I think they're trying to settle amongst themselves. But you're right, though, it kind of caught Seth out. But here comes that third lane. I just saw it peeking out there. It's actually the 14 of Vicente Guerrero trying to make it happen. He ducks back in. Now it leaves the 55 of Dean Wilkinson outside. But right now, no helper as of yet. Close there between himself and the 900. But now it's Dean making a big charge here late. Oh, a little bump there. Got the one truck a little off center there. He hangs on to it. But that was a big bobble here. But we're going to cross here, Matt. 3 to go at the line.
Yeah, this is going to be really tight here. I'm watching JD Crow and Gabe Butler just pushing for all it's worth. Just Seth Groover. I really think he's going to try and take that outside line. And Vicente, I don't know if he's going to go with him or not, but we shall see. Yeah,
I think, and the other thing I think about here, a little bit of movement there once again, but I think Dean Wilkinson really, it sounds weird here, Matt, but I think honestly nothing to lose. He lost the bonus points for an incident-free race, so why not take the risks here? I mean, you've got some incident points with that earlier incident. You can take those gambles now because, I mean, if you got 2x, 4x, 8x, it doesn't matter. So I think you've got a little bit more to play with here as he is going to go there. He's going to peek to the outside with 2 to go here, but no takers as of yet. He's left on his own, unfortunately. Now we got one popping up behind him here. We'll see if anything can form.
And Dean Wilkinson was trying to get that third lane going.
Yeah, so you see Vicente's thinking about it. Every so often he peeks up. Now he's going to make, big move. Kisses the wall. Contact in the back.
Contact.
So far we stay green.
Alcina got into it.
We got big wreck here. We got 6 trucks around. Yeah. 6 trucks through, 7 trucks through, and then from everyone on back is just trying to get through unscathed. And unfortunately, it was a big move there, unfortunately, by that 14 that didn't quite pan out. And so you see some other drivers here trying to make sure that they get through unscathed. So, it's going to put us back under yellow here, Matt, and that is going to put us into now that green-white checkered territory because we were not on the white flag here. So this will put us into attempt number 1. So, but first, we got to go back and take a look to see how this all unfolded there.
Vicente got out of shape, got on the outside wall. It was unfortunate that happened. It stacked up the field, and it was just on from there.
Yeah, it's already too far there. We'll back it up a little further here, get a better view of it. And saying, we'll say you never want to pick on anybody, but so we definitely saw it kicked off around Vicente. So we're watching that 14 truck, and you see he moves to the outside there. And honestly, he's kind of blind behind the 02 truck, and just unfortunately, they were still kind of in the center of 4 there. And then once he gets into the outside wall there, it kind of just bounces him down across the path of Maxwell Caldwell, and that gets him into that 013 truck. And then from there, it's just everybody else is just trying to find their way. And for a moment, it looked like Dean was going to get away with it. But then right there, the 03 slides back up into him. He gets a piece of that 25 of Brian Wing. And then you see everybody else here in the back just trying to find any and every way to get through it. But just, again, it's going to be easier to try to see who wasn't involved, which was about the 6 trucks that were, or 7 trucks that were in front of it. Although I'm watching some good breaks here. Look in the background there, Matt. That black and yellow truck in the very back here with some very quality brakes there, and I believe that's going to be a Todd Siebels, who is right on top of things, knew exactly what to avoid there, as he looks like he's going to come through pretty much unscathed there in that 45, and actually has to take another stop here just to avoid some more trucks around him.
That's being a little bit too conservative, but he was running 14th. He's been incident-free so far here tonight.
So this puts us into extra time now, Matt. So now the question is, drivers that pitted there last time around 58, 59, 57 even, how much fuel did they put in those trucks? Did they account for all 3 attempts of that green-white checkered? Or are these guys going to be running it tight if they get to that second and third attempts or not? We've seen it before. We might see it once again here. So what's going to change now, though, is our running order. It's going to be Sebastian Marin still up front, Joe Della Vecchia to his outside, and then it'll be Gabe Butler, JD Crow in row number 2. Eric Laurie, I wouldn't say a quiet night, but he's now up into 5th. Seth Groover in 6th. And then you've got Kyle Heath, Dean Wilkinson, 7th and 8th. As saying Dean limping a little bit of damage, but he's going to stick it out there. And then you got BK and Jack Wall is going to be rounding it out our top 10. And so It looks like from 13th on back there, Matt, all hit pit road. And again, looking at pit stop laps, like I said, pretty much the top 8 from 57 to 59. BK Anderson, Jack Walls, they pitted at 64 and 69 themselves respectively. Then Todd Siebels and Paul Sheldon at 57 as well. So I feel like BK and Jack are probably good on fuel. They probably put enough to make it to the end. I'm sure Brian Wang and company, who pitted there under yellow, also good to the end as well on fuel. The question marks are really going to, I think, lie with that top 8 trucks to me, and then also the 45 and the 52. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. And say on the YouTube chat update, say mom proud of Seth right now, working his way like you mentioned too while we were off air there for a bit, Matt. Really impressed with Seth working his way all the way from the back to all the way now into that was for a moment 4th, 5th, and now sitting in 6th. But from being a lap down there, getting caught up in that incident to being right in the thick of things here. So it's a great recovery drive for that O2 so far.
Yeah, most definitely. I really think that if I think he's probably going to hook up with the 5. But, they're all teammates, the 5, the 052, 23, and the 1, and the 071. How are you going to beat those guys? It's a matter of a question.
It's going to be tough. He's going to have to just try to find basically the next person who's not part of that team, which I think is Kyle Heath, Dean Wilkinson. I think those are his best chances right now to find his way to work forward. He's on the outside line. I think if he leads that 3rd lane, he might pick up that 55 who's willing to go out there as well. The 83 is up there as well also. But I think what we see here, though, I think we see a little bit of the same. I think that 23 goes a little early, and I think we're going to see that 1, the 052, the 5 and company. I think they're going to try to get organized here and try to sneak away, because this, again, we talked about how long it takes to kind of recover from those early restarts. We'll see, does Sebastian do the same thing here, jump a little early? Because, again, once that pace car's off the racing surface, he has control of his field, and he can go as soon as he chooses.
Now he's going to wait to the green flag. Yep.
Yeah, it looks like he waits till the green flags fly, so they are going to stay tucked up on each other 2 by 2 here. As Sebastian Marin leads the field here, green-white checkered attempt number 1. Can Gabe Butler get a good push around that outside line to be able to lead the outside pack? Right now he's got just about a half a truck ahead, and I think he might get an opportunity here, Matt. It says he's got just enough here. He might be able to squeeze right out of 2. Just depends on JD and Joe there on the outside line, but looks like they got the big push they needed to get back side by side. So now these guys tight on fuel. They want to see this white flag, Matt. They go a little bit of Joe had a little bit of movement there. Yeah, Joe had to move up there. It's going to cost him a ton of momentum here. Oh, contact in the back there. The 071 and the 5. More contact in the back. Oh, we got big wreck around 3 trucks through, 4 trucks, maybe 5 breaking through. But then everywhere on back, it is a carnage up front here. So we've got multiple trucks involved once again. And that's going to put us into attempt number 2. As you see Jim Brooks at the very end is trying to stop to avoid that 25 truck. But yeah, it puts us back under yellow here. So again, fuel questions once again here, Matt. But we got to go back once again. We'll take a look to see what exactly happened. But it just looked like everybody was getting a little bit tight on each other again. But I think it kind of kicked off around the 052, and I think it was the 5 truck trying to give each other some space because I think they weren't quite lined up correctly there. And I think Joe made the right move to avoid that wreck, but unfortunately it still found itself happening out of 4.
Tell you the truth, I have no idea how it happened. I was focused on the middle of the pack.
Yeah, so I'm going to go back because I had to get a better look again. Apologies for having to do some more rewinding here. But we're going to watch, I want to watch Joe Della Vecchia because it's really right around here where I think things kind of got, the best word I can say for it is kind of unorganized. So you can see Joe here, he's kind of peeking up a little bit there. But I think the goal for the 5, I think, was to stay tagged onto the back of the 052. But as soon as he got too high there, he decided, I got to go up. If I don't, I'm going to wind up I'm going to cause a wreck and get left hooked into the field there in front of Sebastian and Gabe. So he made a right call there. But then it's where everything started to kind of start squeezing each other there between the 5 and I think the 071 of Eric Laurie. You'll see right here, Eric's maybe a groove off the line there, and then looks like just drifts up a little bit into the 5, and then at that point, it's just kind of that accordion effect. He tries to hang on to it, but it just, I mean, you got the field here all just stacked up on each other here. But I'm going to watch a little further back, though, Matt, because you see, unfortunately, the 02, he gets caught up in it there with the 32, and then they all start to work their way to the very top of the track. But look on the inside line. Look at the 55. Look at the 45. They just cut to the left here just in time here. And look at the 32. Slides right between the 45 and the 55 of BK Anderson. He slides right in between those two TW Motorsports trucks. But it looks like they come through completely unscathed. But then, like I said, unfortunately, from there on back, it's a different story here. These guys all just trying to find anywhere and everywhere to go. As Jack Walls there and Brian Wayne getting some pretty good contact. And then a little further back, these guys just trying to find anywhere and everywhere to avoid it. So let's go back live though here, Matt, because we are in the thick of it here because we're under yellow here. That was attempt number 1. We're now up to attempt number 2.
You know what my biggest concern is now? Fuel.
Yep. Same here. And I mean, they've had time to save. They had a yellow or 2 in between before these green white checkers to save a little bit. So I think they've had a little bit of help there, but yeah, it's still definitely nothing to take for granted. And it's turned into an attrition race here, Matt, because I'm looking at the who pitted when. We had some drivers pit at lap 75, the first of those being that 955 there. Vicente Guerrero there in the 7 as well. But I mean, look at Bob Fitzgerald. He was in that earlier wreck, unfortunately. He is now in the top 10 in that 9th position. Robert Rock still finds himself in the top 10 as well. But then, like I said, those TW Motorsports drivers, though, Dean Wilkinson, Todd Siebels, they're going to restart here 4th and 5th now after getting through that previous incident here. So I mean, they've been able to really, really recover from what looked like a tough situation earlier in this race.
And guess what? They don't have to worry about fuel. They got plenty on board.
I'm actually going to play devil's advocate there. I'm not sure if they're good to go on fuel, Matt. They pitted at lap number 57. Sebastian Marin and Gabe Butler. Yeah, they pitted at 57. Gabe Butler, Sebastian Marin Company, they pitted at 59. So right now, the furthest driver up with last pitting at 75 is actually that 955 of Andy Brigante and then Vicente Guerrero there in 7th. So if fuel mileage comes into play, we could be looking at someone outside the top 5 here that could be in the catbird seat.
Yeah, if we get another caution, I expect some drivers to hit pit road. There's absolutely, if they could prove me wrong. I mean, I've been proven wrong before. I don't think some of these drivers ain't going to make it.
Saying that they do enjoy proving us wrong. There's no question there. The other thing we got to look at is, I mean, I look at Sebastian Marin's truck. His truck looks clean. Gabe Butler, he's got a little bit of side damage. Dean Wilkinson's definitely got some battle scars. The 955 as well. But so now the question is, once again, though, what does Sebastian do? What does Gabe do here? Do they try to get hooked up together to work together? Or do they say, all right, let's just see who gets the best push at the end? They go early. Look at this quick reaction there as that one truck's going to duck in line right behind the 071 of Eric Laurie, as we're going to get that green-white checkered attempt here, Matt, and they are indeed going to try to go and see if they can stretch away here.
I like where the 45 and the 55 is right now.
And we saw it last week, that momentum shifted, and it allowed that group behind to make some big
we got
gains.
Another caution.
Oh, you're right. Caution towards the back of the field, and it looks like it may have unfortunately been that 00 of Brandon Briggs. And this is going to be very interesting on fuel now. So let's first go back and see. I think, unfortunately, there was some pretty significant damage to that number 955 truck. It looked like that thing was even crab walking. But let's try to see. Yeah, you can already see that thing definitely not tracking straight by any means. And I think that's where everything kicked off there. Yeah, you see the 24 gets into the back of that 955. And I'll say with his damage that he already had, probably even more difficult to drive that thing. But then, so we saw the 00 involved, so we'll jump back to him and see. He's still a ways off of the back here. So I think it may have been, unfortunately, behind due to something to do with Andy here. So let's pick up the pace a little bit here. So come into turn number 1. Now I'll back. Oh, no, actually, no, it had nothing to do with him because they are already spinning around the back. So let's go back and take a better look here. But I think it was trucks off pace there, and it looks like that's the 25 of Brian Wing. And, oh, yeah, he just tried to go for, kind of try to squeeze the gap there, and just, unfortunately, didn't quite fit, and didn't go to plan there, unfortunately, for the 00. So, puts us back under yellow, though, here, Matt, and it looks, I mean, look at how far off these guys are dropping off the pace car here. Saying this is a tough one because, obviously not like NASCAR here where you have the minimum speed to maintain, or else you lose the draft, or not the draft. You lose your position on track if you fall behind the pace car. But these guys are definitely trying to save every ounce of fuel in this. So I think this is going to be marginal for some of these guys here, like that 23 and possibly the one. Dean Wilkinson and them they're acting like they're good to go on fuel. So this is going to be interesting here, Matt.
I'm really, really concerned. When was the last time our TW boys pitted?
Lap 57 for Dean and Todd. Lap 59 for Sebastian, Gabe, and Eric. And again, we talked about Vicente, though. He pitted at 75 there, if I'm not mistaken. So he's in 6th there. JD Crow, he's pitted on 79. One of the previous overtimes, he's now up into the 7th position there. It's anybody's guess at this point here to see who's going to cycle around where. But that being said, the lights are still on the pace car, so we'll step away once more here, Matt, and we'll take it to the finish here on this final attempt of a green-white checkered here at Daytona. All right, as they come out of turn number 2, lights are off of the pace car. So again, this is attempt number 3, the final attempt of a green-white checker attempt. So the way it works now is if there's a yellow, at that point the field is frozen, and whoever is ahead at the time, that will be our race winner, and that will be our finishing order here tonight. But I think the question is going to be, can some of these drivers make it to the end? Because the way some of these guys are saving, it's looking awful sketchy for some of these guys to be able to make it all the way on fuel. And right now, say we've got numerous drivers a lap or more down. Looks like 16 still on the lead lap. We got Sebastian Marin, Sebastian Marin, Gabe Butler, row number 1, Eric Laurie, Dean Wilkinson, row 2, then Todd Siebels, Vicente Guerrero, row 3. We saw them, they kind of showed their hand last time. They went early on that restart, try to get organized. Do they do it once again here on this restart, as we're going to get, again, final attempt? And right now looking like they're waiting a little longer. Now he drops, I think, just before the green flag, as we're going to have our final attempt here, Matt, as they get back to start-finish line here.
I had to go and sneak and get some insider info. The TW boys are good on fuel to the end.
All right, so that's...
Oh my God, that was... Wow. That's race over.
That's race over, and that's going to be our top 3 right there. The 23, the 1, and the 071. And not sure what happened. I'll say it was just outside our view there, so let's go back and see where this all kicked off there. But unfortunately, yeah, that's going to do it for us this evening. Going to finish under yellow. I think one of the first times here with Area 51. So let's go back and take a look. I think it may have been around the 45 and the 14 here. So let's pick up a little bit. So we'll look a little further back here, as they say, as they come down, and it looks like, oh, I think the 14 just tried to fill a gap that wasn't there. You see the 5 tried to get to the outside there and try to get around him, but just wasn't quite enough time. And that's just everybody's going for all they could there. And then, so yeah, so that puts us a quick yellow there. Unfortunately for Vicente, some pretty solid hits there. Somehow actually manages to keep that truck straight. Even smoking, I think, will still wind up salvaging a pretty solid finish there. And then, yeah, so, yeah, Matt, so that should be the way this thing's going to end here tonight. We'll jump back to our leaders, because they should have just taken the white here. So they're going to come across to finish this one under yellow tonight. But it's going to be Sebastian Marin. As long as he can keep some fuel in that truck and just limp this thing to the end, it's going to be Sebastian Marin, Eric Laurie, Sebastian Marin, Gabe Butler, Eric Laurie finishing 1, 2, 3, with Dean Wilkinson, Todd Siebels rounding out our top 5. So not the way, I'm sure, not the way any of these drivers wanted to finish this off. Like you said, I was definitely going to be excited to see what those two TW Motorsports drivers would be able to do there with that push at the end. But yeah, I mean, the one driver who's very happy to see that end on the yellow, though, is going to be that 14, though, Vicente, because he is trying to drive that thing back to the start-finish line with smoke coming out the back of his truck. But you see, yeah, these guys are going to limp this thing around, and it's going to be that number 23 to take the win here under yellow tonight at Daytona.
Yep, that would be maximum points for the 23.
Yeah, exactly right. Definitely max points there for Sebastian. So while we wait for the rest of the field here to come across the start-finish line, and while we watch him come through, we'll pull up our final results as soon as they're available to us, so that you can see where your favorite drivers finished before we get to our interviews. And it should be kicking on now, and it has. So Sebastian Marin getting the win over Gabe Butler there. Again, say intervals not really relevant tonight as it finishes under yellow. Eric Laurie there at 3rd. Dean Wilkinson going to be our highest climber though tonight. Matt getting 30 spots to 4th. Todd Siebels getting 28 spots into that top 5. And then JD Crow, Vicente Guerrero, Robert Rock, Chummy Miller, and Andy Brigante are top 10. Then you got Jim Brooks, Bud Steele, Jason Adams, Dave Bingle, BK Anderson, Bob Fitzgerald, Kyle Heath, and Maxwell Caldwell are top 18 drivers. Unfortunately, some of those a lap or more down. Then you go down to, I'll say again, talk about attrition: Brian Wing, Willie McKellar, Brandon Briggs, Seth Gruber, Paul Sheldon, Jack Wells, Joe Delavecchia, Andrew Schroeder, Michael Spell, and Al Cena. You see again these drivers all 5+ laps down, unfortunately. And then Keith Horner, Randy Miner, Robert DuPont, Jimmy Reynolds, Jay Hilliard, John Ward, and James Hickson, our final finisher tonight in that 35th position. All right, Matt. So with that, let's go chat with some drivers here. And we're going to kick things off with that number 071 of Eric Laurie. Let's go and find Eric here to see some drivers still finding their way around the track there to finish things off. But we're going to kick it off with Eric over here. Alright, I had to hunt him down. I found him. So we're going to pull Eric Laurie in, our third place finisher. Gained 6 spots from 9th to 3rd. But Eric, I mean, that was kind of, I'm sure, a tale of a couple races for you guys, and probably not the way you wanted to see that thing go all the way to the end, because, I mean, there's a couple times you guys were looking very strong where it looked like it could just kind of be you guys breaking away and kind of separating it out, but it's just between the maybe 10, 11 of you there in that front pack. And then, unfortunately, second of the half of the race, just really cautions kind of started flowing and really kind of changed the pace of the race, but then it seemed like those green-white checkers, I mean, if not for that last yellow there right at the end on that restart finishing under yellow here tonight, it looked like fuel was going to be a big concern for a lot of these guys. How are you feeling on your fuel numbers? Were you confident to make it to the end? Or, I mean, what was it like there with your teammates in that chat towards the end of this thing?
Well, I had enough fuel to finish. I know that Sebastian, he was really, really close on fuel. So with him out leading the front there for a while, he gave up a lot of fuel there.
Yeah, it was definitely. I mean, it definitely showed that he was doing everything to save every drop he could there. But obviously, the way things fell out, kind of still worked out for him in the end. But and then just, I mean, take us through your race tonight overall. I mean, it looked like you were one of the few that were able to kind of stay out of most of the trouble here tonight. Obviously, like I said, starting towards the front, you guys just kind of stayed in front, stayed in control for a good portion of that race. Until about midway through, we saw some pit strategy that dropped you guys a few spots back behind some other teammates. Were there any discussions within, like, okay, we want to try to get back up and take control back over of the race, or was it just kind of like, let's just kind of continue to see how this race unfolds and plays out for the remainder of the race?
Well, it was kind of continuous. It was going on. We had some unlucky yellows, under for the pit stops and stuff like that, where everybody come out, but it all still worked out here at the end.
Yeah, say to kick off the playoffs to get a solid third place night, it's definitely not a bad way to start things off. I'd say obviously you've got some pretty difficult competition around you. You look at the top 5 right here, actually top 7. You've got 6 of the 7 playoff contenders with Sebastian, Gabe, Dean, Todd, and Vicente. So I mean, it's obviously you're gonna have to kind of be lights out. It looks like these final 3 races after tonight. But I mean, just a great job though tonight for you, Eric, and definitely before we let you go, I want to give you the floor for any thanks and shots you'd like to get for that podium tonight.
I want to thank Area 51 for putting all this on. You for doing all the televised stuff. It's really wonderful to have you guys do this and rewatch some video at a later date. And I want to thank the whole crew tonight, and even Kevin up in the tower.
Yeah, so you definitely had some good hands there helping you guys out tonight. So great job though tonight, Eric. So I look forward to seeing you go after these guys the remainder of the 3 in this season, man. So good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
All right, that was Eric Laurie. Now we got to jump over to our second place finisher, Matt. That truck's a little worse for wear here tonight, so you can see some pretty solid scuffs on the side of that thing. So that's going to be that one truck of Gabe Butler's, say starting second, finishing in second, but anything but an easy one tonight for you, Gabe. And I think really the big turn of the race was that one pit stop where you guys hopped in there and a handful of trucks stayed out, and it was just kind of that risk versus reward of trying to work that third lane to get around some trucks. And so you're definitely in a tight spot a few times on the top, in the middle, and then of course everything going on towards the end there on pit strategies, on fuel strategies, and everything like that. I mean, just how much were you on your toes tonight, having to kind of balance everything that was going on tonight for the first race of the playoffs?
Well, in the playoffs, you got to stay pretty sharp, and we had a good strategy going in that was working out, and then how cautions go, to throw a wrench in your plans. But we were able to maintain control of the race pretty much for I'd say 90% of it, and we kind of got caught out there a little bit. Yeah, I was on the high side trying to get around, but I was kind of getting pinched up into the wall. So we decided to regroup and back out of it and catch them on pit stops.
Yeah, I think pit stops were the story tonight. I say that final pit stop, everything looks good. You guys are running away there. I think you got them out to about a 3 or so second lead. I think it was about 11 trucks or so in that mix there. I mean, how do you guys stay that organized and that quick? I mean, I was watching you, Sebastian. We know he's kind of that driver that's like on the absolute edge of pit entry every time. But I mean, you were with him that entry there, step for step. Usually, you're one I feel like we've talked before, where you're like, I'm gonna play it a little more cautious to make sure I can make it to the end without any pit penalties. But it looked like you were definitely stepping up the aggression on that pit stop there and that final green flag one.
To be honest with you, new penalties, or sorry, not penalties. New pedals helped. So I've been dialing them in all day, and yeah, they work pretty darn good.
What kind of pedals did you get there, Gabe?
Husenvelts.
Really?
Yeah. So if that's how you say it.
Now you know better than I do, probably.
Yeah, you do.
I can spell it better than I can say it. I'll put it that way.
I'll say that's a hard one to spell as well, because somehow there's a K in there, and yeah, good luck figuring out where that goes. But
they're pretty expensive pedals. They are probably one of the best on the market.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, they're definitely ones. So there's some that you're not wrong, Gabe. We talked a little pre-race. I was definitely keeping my eyes on those as well. But yeah, I mean, yeah, say Sebastian is gonna have another thing to keep an eye on his mirrors for, though. Say you keep dialing those pedals in, and say you're going to be giving him a run for his money on the pit stop side of things. So, but obviously, I mean, a great way to start off the playoffs, though. Say get the top two finish, and let's say. The only downside is, I was mentioning to Eric as well, I mean, you look at the top 7 in the results here tonight, 6 of those are in the playoffs, so, I mean, you guys are going to have to be on the top of your game week in and week out, it looks like, these final 3 races to try to come out on top here.
Yeah, we are, and we just hope the next few races are a little bit cleaner, but, I mean, it is what it is. It's super speedway stuff, but, you got to deal with it and try and be around your own guys. That way you can feel a little bit more comfortable and do a few more things that you wouldn't normally do. So, we'll see what happens. Looking forward to next week.
Yeah, a great result here tonight for you. So, at least this one you're able to put your admin hat aside and just go racing and try to enjoy yourself. So, but yeah, awesome job once again here, Gabe. And before we let you go, though, definitely want to give you the floor here. Any thanks and shouts you'd like to give for that runner-ups tonight?
Shout out to Area 51 for the league, yourself for broadcasting, of course, and of course all the guys that have been racing with tonight. Team Boot Knocker, just a strong group of guys, man. You're not going to get anywhere without the help of your teammates. So awesome job by the fellas.
Yeah, you guys definitely were in control tonight. So, next week we'll be at a little bit bigger track. We'll definitely see plenty more 3-wide racing, probably with a little bit more breathing room as well. So, good job though tonight, Gabe, and definitely look forward to seeing more of you throughout the rest of the season, man. So, good luck the rest of the way.
All right, guys. Thanks a bunch.
All right, Matt. That leaves us one driver left to chat with.
Yes,
sir. He might be a little tired. I don't know if he had to push his truck from the track to the infield or what there, but I mean that was, I think, probably some of the most stressful few laps for you there, Sebastian. Having to try to stretch the fuel, knowing you led a bunch. I say we were talking to Eric as well. Mentioned that you were definitely running a little bit more fuel burn than the rest of them, leading the pack for as long as you did there. And then just you get the first green white checkered, you get the second green white checker, then that third one comes out. I mean, what's your thought going into that final one, and then take us through the motions from that to then switching over to getting that yellow as you're pretty much coming out of turn number 2 there.
Oh yeah, man, those final laps were definitely stressful. I knew I was gonna be close. My teammates, I knew they were gonna be fine. But since, like you said, since I led so much, man, I think I would have probably been on fumes, started, stuttering, probably entering 1 after the checkered. So kind of thankful the yellow kind of came out. We kind of, our plan the whole race was to stay out front, lead laps, control the field, pit and try to break away. And we did that. We did it great. Then those last couple yellows hurt us a bit because I I think we felt like we had the race basically in our hands, and the final restarts kind of mixed things up a bit. It caused a little bit of chaos. A few of our teammates got involved, and I might have thought would have been in trouble, but I think there was enough damaged trucks and plenty of our team trucks that were clean. So yeah, it worked out in the end, but man, it was very stressful.
Yeah, it was definitely, I mean, it seemed like there's a lot of stuff going on at the NSA, and obviously we saw some good teamwork though towards the end with you, Gabe, and Eric trying to hook up together to kind of control your own destinies at the end. We saw that happen on Sunday night as well with some of the regulator teammates trying to do the same over there, but it was only the two of them. Obviously, the three of you able to do a little bit more damage. It would have been fun to see how it played out there at the end. But like I said, definitely, I'm sure on your end, not at all disappointed to see the caution there at the end, but I'm going to say that's probably mentioned as probably max points for you here tonight. I say get in the pole, get in the win. I believe leading the most laps as well. Don't know if you were able to keep that truck clean and green to the end as well.
Yep. Yeah,
So I mean that's probably about best you could do here tonight, hun. Kind of check all those boxes. I'd say it's probably a good feeling to start off this playoff.
Yeah, it was great. Points were great. Obviously, the win were great. And then me and Gabe finished 1-2, and I think he had a 0x. No, actually, no, he hit the fence, I think, early in the race. So, but I know Gabe's gonna be hard to beat. He's always super consistent and is always really good in crunch time. But hey, at least I think we are the favorites at the moment, so that's good.
Yeah, definitely tough to bet against you guys for sure there, but just a great job tonight. Like I said, kind of just checking all the boxes for what you wanted to accomplish to what you did accomplish. So definitely hats off to you and the guys for that one. But yeah, definitely before we let you go though, want to give you the floor for any thanks and shouts like to you for getting that win here tonight.
Yeah, I want to thank my teammates, of course, from the Boot Knockers, Brian, Eric, Gabe, JD, Maxwell. We're all in there. They were great help throughout the race, and we worked really well together. I want to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. Like always, it's a lot of fun to rewatch the broadcast and see, I guess, the wrecks and your guys' point of view from all the things. And I want to thank Area 51 for putting on this league.
All right, man. So enjoy this one. Not too much because, like I said, he's still got some tough company behind you there. With still 3 to go. So enjoy this one, and then we'll look forward to seeing you back to business here next week, man. So good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Nice job.
Thank you.
All right, Matt. That is our race winner in that number 23 of Sebastian Marin. I said just didn't set a foot wrong here tonight. Was in control. I say at one point did have to try to kind of hustle his way back up to the front to get back in control of this race. But other than that, that's about the best you could hope for I think for a driver for a race here tonight. So the only thing is he's got to do 3 more of these because again 6 of the top 7 tonight in the playoffs. So he's going to have a little bit of a margin after tonight with the bonus points and such, but so we see those change very frequently. So I'll say it's gonna be a lot of fun the rest of this way.
Now, like I said, teammates, it's big in these leagues. Without the help of Gabe Butler, all them guys working together in one group, just they do many races together. It's attrition, and they know each other's tendencies, and they know what it takes to keep that car up front, and they do it every week, and it shows on the track, and it shows that Sebastian Marin is probably the best super speedway driver out there. That and Gabe Butler, and they're going to get wins. And how are you going to overtake those guys? You're going to have to work together to beat them.
Yep, yeah, it's done. It definitely takes some significant teamwork. I feel like next week Talladega definitely opens up some more opportunities because, again, a lot wider track, that third lane easily able to be used throughout the course of the race. So I think we'll definitely be seeing plenty of that next week. And I think these guys were kind of just getting their feet wet, maybe try not to get too crazy, at least for the first half of the race. Then there was no holds barred there that second half, but it's going to be a lot of fun. I say we still got plenty of playoff racing to go here, Matt. Obviously, we kicked off the playoffs here tonight. Monday night was also their first playoff race in the Next Gen Series here tonight. And then, of course, on Sunday night for the Super Speedway Xfinity Series, it'll be the same thing over there. So Matt, really appreciate you hopping on board and helping me out tonight. I say, definitely been a lot of fun doing this with you over the course of these Thursdays and Sundays, and so we got a few more to go, and we'll see who we get to crown some champions over the course of these 3 more weeks or so.
Yeah, I appreciate the invite. As a matter of fact, you kind of rang me up at the last minute, but hey, that's okay. It's great to be up here in the booth with you and working. It's so much fun. I love it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to do these with people you enjoy hanging out with. So, yeah, thank you so much. Congrats again to our top 3 there tonight. Actually, I should say top 5, really. Sebastian Marin, Gabe Butler, Eric Laurie, Dean Wilkinson, Todd Siebels. I say it's all to play for here tonight. So we got lots of racing left to go over the course of the season, so stay tuned. However, until then, I hope you have a wonderful evening. Happy Friday Eve. We'll be back on Sunday night for the Super Speedy Xfinity Series. But until then, though, take care, have a good night, stay safe, and we'll see you back on Sunday.
Yo, take care.